You remember they're changing my voice. So again, I deal in the facts, right? So Masons themselves admit that Benjamin Franklin and George Washington were Freemasons. And these are some of the most effeminate kind of figures in American history. You know, think about Benjamin Franklin, how he looks, right? Now imagine him dressed up like a lady or something. You'll see what I mean, right? He's very effeminate. We look at George Washington. My goodness, you know, it's like he thinks he's a ballerina or princess or something. I mean, he's pretty far out there. I don't respect it. You know, I don't respect their plan. I don't respect what they're doing. It's wrong. Okay, so and we're gonna get to this in the next video where we look at the governing class, right? The guys who are above the average Freemason in their little game. Okay, we see the Sacklers, the Mars family, Goldman Sachs, the Waltons, the Koch brothers, right? The Goldman family and the Sachs family. Those are actually families that came together, right? And there's a lot of family companies like that have a lot of money, right? They talk about the Rockefellers, the Rothschild, George Soros and his family, the Open Family Foundation, right? The Ford Foundation, the families behind that. And we see, we see a lot of these ones that are front and center that everyone must acknowledge have some degree of power. Okay, it's the logical assumption, right? They're not just people who are propped up and given money. They actually have some power one way or another. And they have more power than the average person. And most people would agree that it's fair to say that they're very much involved in this. And these are the people that the foolish builders, the Freemasons, are, they're following their plan. And Masons, I can't stress this enough, and talk about this literally for like over 10 years, that they are the extreme opposition view to the moral martyr. They are 100% against the moral martyr. Their actions, their grouping, they want to build society in a certain direction for a certain purpose. The moral martyr doesn't want to find his life in this world, so he carries his cross and dies, right? What is the opposite of somebody who says, I'm not going to have anything to do with this society, and gets persecuted and he gets blacklisted and stigmatized? As somebody in good standing with society, quote unquote, right? Not really with God, not with God, but with society, who's allowed to be a Freemason. That's one of the requirements of people being in good standing, okay? Who has a long-term plan to build with the government in society. That's like the extreme opposite of Christ on the cross. So they're the Antichrist, right? But they're not necessarily, the individual Mason isn't necessarily the most powerful person in the world or something. Okay, so as you get to the essence of the Antichrist spirit, you're going to see people who are in the churches pretending to be of God. You're going to see people who are super rich, right? As you really break it down, the details, and you do the facts. And that's what this series is about. It's about the facts. The fact of the matter is, when you're a man of God and you discuss the Freemasons and you discuss Gangstalking, you're going to be pissed off about it, right? And if you don't see that, you got to wonder if the person's telling the truth. That's one of the reasons why they say no hateful ideology, no hate speech, and they blur the line between just righteous indignation, moral outrage, and hate speech. Okay? They're allowed to, cuss out organizations like terrorists, so to speak. They're allowed to say, we're against Hamas and we're against ISIS, and act very angry and da-da-da, but you can't call out organizations that have done far more harm than Hamas and ISIS put together and Al-Qaeda will ever do. Okay? Look at, did Hamas cause the Native American genocide? No. Did they drop bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki? No. Okay. Did they create communism and crony capitalism in the forms that we see, and all this horrible stuff that's occurred, all the rapes, the murders, the drugging? Do they own Big Pharma? We can go through the list. Are they the main human traffickers on the planet? No. You know what I'm saying? The main people behind it are globalists. They're Westerners. Okay. Israelis. Everyone knows that. Look at how many crypto Jews we have these days. It's like, what the hell? There are crypto Jews as far as I can see. And these people are so fanatically hell-bent to reinforce that, is that if you say that, they get on your bumper. It is so bad that if you even bring it up, they start acting like fucking it's the end of the world or something. And of course, for more reasons than that, it is the end of the world as you know it. Okay, the world is transforming into hell. You've seen there's been changes, right? There's been changes. When you look at the punishments in the Bible, they're about changes, right? They're taken into captivity. That's a change. Their cultures would change. Their sexual, cycles would change. That's why the Jews are white now, so on and so forth. The Bible, again, was written by, people that, the New Testament was written by people who were controlled by the government, and the Old Testament was written by scribes controlled by the government. That's a story for another day. But there's still universal truths in there. So the end of the world just real briefly, because that's not what this video is, this playlist is about. The end of the world in the Bible is about the end of any decency in the world. Proverbs 8, right? The end of wisdom, the end of righteousness, the end of justice, the end of all the life principles. So the people are the walking dead. James, like 2:26 or something. The body without the spirit is dead. Faith without works is dead. If there's no works of God, because there's no possible way to be just and to do anything just and righteous, then you're the walking dead. You're just a rotting piece of shit, like Jeremiah the prophet said, like dung lying on the ground. Okay, if you have any questions, ask me. I'm going to keep this video short. We'll get into, one of these families, the Sachs or the Goldmans or something in the next video to show you how these people very much look like these people we see everywhere these days on TikTok, what have you. These families that have spread using their money, their midwives, their concubines, the women that they cheat on their wives with, and they have huge sex cults like King Solomon. They talk about building Solomon's temple, and Solomon had like a 1,000 wives and concubines, right? And that's how these people think, okay? Their children are everywhere now. Democracy is way done with because they've bred so many people who are basically generational sex cults, Satanists. So a lot of them have long fingernails when they're females, right? And they see themselves as witches. That's what it's about, right? It's about this massive quote-unquote magic spell, quote-unquote, okay, where they're trying to use psychology and chemistry and technology and brain hacking and artificial intelligence. And some of these people pretend, to this day, some dickheads pretend that brain hacking isn't real. I mean, it is fucking retarded. Brain hacking is real. Artificial intelligence is real. And these things weren't invented so someone can say, hey, I invented. It's invented to control your mind, you stupid fuck. If you don't know that, you're a dumb fucking asshole.